Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías was a Venezuelan politician and military officer who served as the president of Venezuela from 1999 until his death in 2013. He was a controversial figure who inspired both fierce devotion and intense criticism, but he left an indelible mark on Venezuela and the wider world. Hugo Chávez was born on July 28, 1954, in Sabaneta, a small town in the state of Barinas, Venezuela. He grew up in poverty, the second of 6 children in a family of mixed indigenous and African heritage. His parents were schoolteachers who instilled in him a deep sense of social justice and a commitment to helping the poor. Chávez joined the Venezuelan military in 1971 and quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a paratrooper and a commander in the army. He was trained by U.S. military advisors and spent time in the United States, where he was exposed to leftist political ideas. In 1992, Chávez led a failed coup against the government of President Carlos Andrés Pérez. The coup attempt was unsuccessful, and Chávez was arrested and sentenced to prison. However, his actions gained him popularity among many Venezuelans who were dissatisfied with the corruption and inequality of the government. After his release from prison in 1994, Chávez founded the Movement for the Fifth Republic (MVR), a socialist political party. He ran for president in 1998 on a platform of social and economic reform, promising to reduce poverty and corruption and to challenge the influence of the United States in Venezuela. Chávez won a landslide victory in the presidential election, taking 56% of the vote. He immediately began implementing his reforms, including land redistribution, increased spending on education and healthcare, and the nationalization of some industries. Chávez's policies were popular among many Venezuelans, especially the poor, but they also drew fierce opposition from the country's traditional elites and from the United States, which saw him as a threat to its interests in the region. Chávez responded by building alliances with other leftist governments in Latin America and by challenging U.S. influence in the region. Chávez was re-elected in 2000 and again in 2006 with increasing margins of victory. He continued to implement his socialist policies, which included the creation of communal councils to give citizens greater control over their communities and the establishment of a state-run oil company to increase Venezuela's control over its natural resources. Chávez's presidency was marked by controversy and polarization. Supporters saw him as a champion of the poor and a charismatic leader who stood up to U.S. imperialism, while critics accused him of authoritarianism, economic mismanagement, and human rights abuses. Chávez's government was accused of suppressing political opposition, limiting press freedom, and using the courts to intimidate and imprison its critics. There were also allegations of corruption and nepotism within his inner circle. Despite these controversies, Chávez remained popular among many Venezuelans throughout his presidency. His death from cancer in 2013 was a shock to his supporters and a relief to his critics, but his legacy continues to shape Venezuela and the wider region. Chávez is remembered as a transformative figure who challenged the status quo and empowered the poor and marginalized. His policies, such as the creation of communal councils and the nationalization of some industries, have been replicated in other Latin American countries. However, his legacy is also a matter of debate, with some seeing him as a hero and others as a demagogue. Hugo Chávez was a complex and controversial figure who left an indelible mark on Venezuela and the wider world.